We're gonna go over the top 4 body weight exercises that every single lineman needs to do who's a football player, and we're gonna start right now. What's up, everybody? It's Dane Miller from GarageStrength.com, and if this is your first time to the channel and you're interested in becoming a better athlete, you want to be more explosive, you want to become a stronger savage on the field, make sure that you like, you subscribe, and you ring that notification bell so we can help you become a beast. So offensive and defensive linemen will come through our doors frequently, and they're poorly trained. They have poor body control. They struggle to manipulate their own body to do things that they want it to do. And so what does this have to do with actually applying strength to the football field? If we can think about offensive and defensive linemen, there's a lot of manipulation, there's a lot of positions on the field that they have to be in to move rapidly. They've got to be in very mobile positions, they've got to move quickly, they have to have a very fast first step, they've got to have a quick punch. The sooner my hand can get on my opponent's hand, the faster I can control their body. And all of these little facets start to come into play. And what ends up happening is, as our linemen that come through our doors, as they start to develop, as they start to become stronger with their own body weight, that's when we start to see them achieve greater levels on the field. That's when we start to see them sign with the Power 5 schools, go into Rutgers, achieving that all-state status. And that's where it's very, very important. Again, absolute strength, dynamic strength, technical coordination, these things are all very important for offensive and defensive linemen, but it all starts with that base foundation of knowing what your body weight is, handling your own body weight effectively, so that in turn, when you're in that high performance situation, when you're on the football field, you can take that force now that you've created based off your own body weight manipulation, and you can start to apply and manipulate your opponents effectively. So we're gonna go into those top 4 exercises that every offensive and defensive lineman can do to improve their body control and ultimately dominate their opponents. Coming at that number 4 spot, we've got the towel reclining row. And so it's important, first of all, we also recognize there's a lot of athletes out there that don't have access to a gym. They might be stuck on quarantine. They might have all their gyms are shut down. And so these are also movements that we can do at home to improve our strength, to improve our power output. And that's where the towel reclining row comes into play. This is an exercise that I've done in various different hotel rooms. This is a movement that you could do in the gym, where you could wrap a towel around a barbell and you can go side to side with it. But you can also wrap it around doorways, door frames, handles, whatever it might be inside of a room at your house, and you can start to target your lats, your forearms, your biceps. All of these things are important for line play. If we can think about grappling and how much we're pushing and pummeling when we're on the line, when we're deep in those trenches. And why do we use towels? Think about when we're doing that towel reclining row. 1, we're getting a little bit more range of motion. 2, we're gonna have some scapular retraction, so that's gonna help our shoulder stability. 3, that towel is going to manipulate the jersey. So if I'm utilizing that towel, that grip strength is gonna transfer to grabbing and pulling the jersey. That's gonna transfer really, really well. I recommend hitting towel reclining rows, towel reclining pull-ups, whatever you wanna refer to them as, anywhere 5, 6, 7 sets of 10 to 17 reps. That third key exercise for body weight exercises for offensive and defensive linemen is going to be the glide. Okay, so I know a lot of people are like, what? Get out of here. So this is gonna be mainly for offensive linemen, but if we can take a peek inside the brain of one of the greatest offensive linemen to ever play the game, Joe Thomas. Joe Thomas was a glider. Jonathan Ogden, one of the greatest to ever play the game, a glider. Okay, these are guys that were gliders, they were shot putters, okay? And if you listen to Joe Thomas, one of the key factors behind why he was so effective, how his technique was so unorthodox, is because he utilized the glide movement as his kick step. That was exactly how he got into position. He learned how to drive from that front foot, but he also had a stance that mimicked the glide out of the back. Now, if you've never been a glider, you've never thrown a shot, I do, one, recommend you learn how to glide, you learn how to throw. If you want to be a world-class offensive lineman, learn how to glide. It's going to help you become more explosive. It's going to help you to utilize every ounce of strength that you have in your body and to apply it rapidly into an object. But on top of that, it's also going to help you be faster off the line. Now, if you don't want to do the glide, okay, and that was my little push because I am a throws coach, is I recommend doing a reverse drop lunge. And so when you do that reverse drop lunge, you can take that step back, drop rapidly, and then drive back forward, okay? So this is going to be almost like a plyometric lunge. You're gonna drop back, drive forward, drop back, drive forward. Now you can sit at home, you can sit in the hotel, you can do this exercise 2-3 days a week, 4 to 5 sets, 5 reps on each leg, and that's gonna go a long way. But if you wanna learn the glide, check out some of those sweet videos of Joe Thomas and check out him discussing his technique and how he was so effective at manipulating his body based off of the principles and mechanics of the glide. Coming at that number 2 spot, we've got Gwiz jumps to a bound. Okay, so this is a very, very, very complicated exercise. This is an exercise that I typically don't use with any of my elite offensive and defensive linemen until they're in 11th and 12th grade. And so why I love the Gwiz jump is you're in a very deep position. We know that hip height wins. If I have lower hips, I'm gonna dominate you on the gridiron. Okay, we know that. Now, if I can dominate from a very deep position and still put out a ton of force, now I'm even better, okay, as an offensive or defensive lineman. And that's where the Gwiz jump comes in. We're gonna have that back knee on a pad. We're gonna have our front foot forward. Our back foot has to stay flexed, so we need flexion in the knee. We're gonna drive forward and get into bounds, double leg bounds. So you're gonna go from a single leg to double leg bounds. This is really, really challenging. It's really, really complicated. So if you're not able to do the Gwiz jump to a bound, then what we can do is we can do jump lunges, pausing in the split for 2 seconds. You pause in that split, and then you get into the single leg bound out of a jump lunge. So it's a little different. It'll be a jump lunge into single leg bound. The Gwiz jump, I want a single leg position that you drive and you land and do a double leg and do double leg bounds. So not only are these movements that are very complicated, it's gonna transfer really well to that first step. It's gonna transfer really well to your overall coordination, and it's going to help you learn how to put out a ton of power from that very low position, and that's how you win that trench warfare. So finally, before we get into that number 1 exercise, we put together an entire program that has all of these body weight movements in it. We put together our Thor program, our Berserker program, and any of our offensive and defensive lineman programs. So if you struggle with piecing together programs, you need a little bit more help. You need someone who's gonna guide you and pull you through on a day-to-day basis so that you know how to program day to day. You know how to do certain lifts together and then another lift that next day. We put that together. You can click on the link down below. It's going to take you over to garagestrength.com, and you can pick up any of our offensive or defensive lineman programs to help you dominate down in those trenches. Finally, coming in at our number 1 exercise, and this is going to be upper body based. It's a PVC pipe push-up with an isometric hold. And I know that's not strictly body weight, but all we need is a 2 to 3 inch thick PVC pipe. And what I like about this is that we're gonna do a push-up with both hands, and we're gonna drive up, and then we're gonna hold our hand that's not on the PVC pipe up to our chest. 1, 2, back down. The reason why I like this is if you can think about an offensive or a defensive lineman, especially defensive linemen, a lot of times we're posting up here, okay? So we're posting up here, and we might be grabbing with our hands to try and manipulate our opponent. Then this arm might be free, so we can club, we can rip, we can grab if we see that running back coming through that gap specific to where you're supposed to be getting blocked. Now we can manipulate that opponent here, we can tackle with that free hand. That's what we get out of that PVC pipe push-up. We've got to grab the PVC pipe, so it's going to help our grip strength, it's going to help our stability, it's going to help our pecs recruit tremendously. So we've got to be stable here. We've got to hold our gut and stay nice and stable here. And then when we come back down, we're going to do that again. So this can help us try to manipulate our opponents while our free hand makes the play, makes the tackle. That's a lot of the hand fighting that you see in football, is you're going to be doing unilateral hand fighting. That's where that PVC push-up isometric hold comes into play. You could do this twice a week, 5 sets of 5 each side. Try and have that isometric hold 2 to 4 seconds. These transfer really well to the field. They also transfer really well to the bench press because it increases stability in the pecs and the shoulder, and that grip starts to increase. So if you want more information about football-based training, you can click on the link down below. We've got a program specifically for you. We've got our Thor bodyweight program. We've got our resistance training program designed specifically for offensive and defensive linemen. You can click on the link, head over to garagestrength.com. If you want more videos about offensive and defensive lineman training, you can click on this card right here, guys. Until next time, peace.